But yeah, Max was not able to make it today due to a family issue that came up. So I'm going to be standing in as your game show host and TV quizmaster. So why don't we do this? Why don't we do, because we have a small enough group of people. Hi, Shivam, by the way. Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Thanks for joining. We have a small enough group of people. Why don't we just do a quick round the room? Does everybody want to say hi, say what they do, at least be able to how to pronounce your name, if it's not obvious, and maybe just a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of start off from there. Does that work?
Yeah. Except
go
for
ahead.
one thing, I was expecting to introduce myself during the product presentation, because I saw that you allocate 10 minutes for that.
I did. Well,
Okay.
I'll tell you what, I'll tell you, why don't we do this? You're going to be the last person then, because we're going to lead into you. So
That's my punishment.
problem solved.
All right. No, I agree. That's a good one.
Okay, that's perfect. So the first, I'm just going to call out names because I'm going to do it based on what Zoom's showing me on the toolbar. So Grace, you're the first one.
Hi, everyone. I'm Grace. So happy to be able to join for this call. I missed the last one, so sorry about that. I'm calling in from Berlin. I'm the product manager at Collado. And yes, we have an AI tool that is our platform, but I won't dive too much into it today. I'm just so eager to share the space and learn more about what you are doing. Thank you for having me.
Very cool. Thank you, Grace. Vanilla, you're next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Vanilla, like the ice cream, if in case the name looks confusing, or the wrapper, I like to say. Depends on
That's
your
right.
generation.
Right on.
I'm calling in from Northern Virginia. I am a product manager at a nonprofit, but I have been a longtime user of User Story Generator and just feel really honored and excited to be in this group and just to learn as much as possible and contribute to the community where I can.
Fantastic. Okay, next is Shivam.
Yep. Hi, everyone. So I'm from India. I'm Shivam Bhatia, and I have been running a startup called Slingshot. It's a Techstars-backed startup where we help teens, like anyone under 18, to get internships in tech startups. And it's running pretty well. So we transitioned it into an incubator because we realized that we are making job seekers instead of job creators. So we help these teams in making new startups, like if they want anything, funding, marketing, or if they need a team, we help with all that. And that's how I'm helping these interns in like making new startups. And I have products to present that they have made. And some of them are AI products, some of them are not. But yeah, few exciting things I can show.
Fantastic. And Shivam, you're going to be the other one presenting today.
Right.
Yeah. So right after Val. Perfect. Great. Thank you. And I didn't catch, is it I know you said you were in the car before. I don't know if you're still in the car or if you're out of the car yet. Maybe.
Hi, my name is Ahmed Yusuf, and I'm a product manager at ClassTalks. And you can call me Yusuf to make it easy. And I've been a product manager for about 2 years, and I've been using User Story Generator. And there's another tool that I was really interested in, which was for soft skills for engineers. So yeah, I had a call earlier today to demo that product, but I was not able to make it. But I'm excited to join this call. I'm calling in from Pakistan, Lahore.
Okay. Oh, fantastic. And then last but not least, Joel.
Hey there, I'm Joel, calling in from the Buckeye State of Ohio. I do two things. I'm a data analytics consultant, and I am the founder of Homework Muffin, which helps busy students overcome a feeling of chaos in their semester by giving them organizational tools to live balanced lives.
That's awesome. Thank you, Joel. And Val, now you get to do your introduction and your 10 minutes. Let me just do real quick here. I'm going to show you the plan for today. I hope you all can see my screen here. So the plan is we're gonna adjust these. So Val's demo is gonna be first, so he can introduce himself and do that. And then Shivam, Max, as I said, won't be able to be here. And then we'll have some discussion and just see where it goes. But that was really it. So Val, I'm gonna let you take it away from here.
Cool. Thank you, Matt. All right. Hello,
Sure.
everyone. My name's Val. I'm going to share the screen because I've prepared a presentation. 1 second, please. I think it goes like this.
I like the background, by the way. Your wallpaper is cool.
The video. Oh, it's actually, I'm in the co-working call room right now.
Oh, got it. Got
It is.
it.
And can you imagine yeah.
No, I was saying we just moved into an apartment. We had to deal with wallpaper, so I'm very attuned to aesthetics right now. And it looks cool. Please go right ahead.
Yeah. The co-working office is currently celebrating their birthday. So if you hear some music and sounds, it's all coming from the from the celebration.
Okay.
All right. So I've just started my presentation. I want to say hello. I'm also going to put the timer on just so that I don't take anyone's time.
No
And
problem.
I wanted to start by saying, how did we get here? I've prepared a quick story in 3 acts. And this is all started with a Telegram message of Max in a different AI product chat.
Mhm.
And he posted a message that someone was interested in this group of a soft skill product. And I immediately saw that, reached out to Max to ask if I can connect with that person and introduce the product demo. Sure enough, he said, yeah, but can you do it, please, as soon as you can? And I was like, yeah, I'll do my best, but it took me 5 days to do that anyway. But regardless, I made it. I'm here. I've actually done a better job. I'm going to present a product demo for all of you, not just for one person. So yeah, the 3rd act is happening right now. I'm actually presenting this to you. So a little bit about myself. My name is Val for short, Val OS. Let's be very concise here. And here's my take on the work-life balance. I have over 5 years of experience in marketing. Most of this comes from me working in a digital marketing agency and then hopping on to crypto products. So I know a lot about user acquisition for SaaS, fintech, and crypto. And I've recently become a novice startup founder, thankful to that TAN AI event held in Kyiv. I am myself from Kyiv, Ukraine. And on the life side, I'm very interested in artificial intelligence. I've read the Wait But Why blog about the singularity. And I just think that, we'll live in this short period where we should appreciate it as much before the AGI, before the ASI emerges. And I also like to edit videos from my travel and read a lot of business literature, the books, the articles, and I like to write some things about marketing myself too. I have a blog at marketingconversation.com. And pretty soon I'm going to publish my post on the hackathon experience, the cradle of startups, as I call it. So how can I be valuable to you? My skills are about growth and marketing, the commercial aspect of the startups. I can help you validate your unique value proposition, use frameworks like MVPs, but even go a step behind that and use riskiest assumption tests for landing pages and wait lists. I can help you structure your business by specific processes, task boards, and the communication styles, not just the meetings, but also the Loom videos, for example, and the marketing stuff, the user acquisition. I can teach you how to set up a viral user acquisition by putting the right product features and how to work with content. So yeah, that was about me. Now about the product. The idea about Soft Trainer, the product, came when I was completing one of the marketing courses, and I thought, well, can this thing be automated with AI that can generate situations for you to be put in, and that you can navigate them that way? So I've had that idea. I've researched the market a little bit, and I've put on, I think, a 10-slide presentation on the TAN AI hackathon. I brought the team together, people who were interested in this, and we won one of the awards there. and decided to carry on this project, make a step back with user interviews, and actually build something. And right now, basically, we are collecting feedback from users to build our first real MVP. So the concept of the product is that an AI gives you a personalized social situation that you need to that you need to reply with an open answer. It analyzes your answer, tells you how to improve it, and then updates your soft skill dashboard. That's the theory. Now let me show you how it actually works. And for that, I'm going to tell you straight ahead, I'm going to use ChatGPT for that, not the raw product that we built on the hackathon, because I think that it can be still further improved, but it's going to be, for the demonstration purpose, it'll suffice. So basically, do you see my screen with ChatGPT right now?
I do.
Okay, good. Right. So basically, what I'm prompting it at first is about my situation. I am a marketer in a cybersec company, years in the profession, 5, and we're going to start with the basics levels for each soft skill: collaboration, leadership, problem solving, and etc. So once I fit into that, what it does first is that it acknowledges the input and prepares a dashboard of my soft skills. It starts off with 1 bar for each skill: communication, collaboration, adaptability, and it likes to visualize not with percentages but with XPs. We're gonna test how to improve the progress bar better, how it would be better for users. So what it does then, it initiates the social challenge, the challenging simulation. And it says, in my particular case, you are at a cybersecurity conference representing your company. And during a networking session, there are influential figures who approach me. They're curious about my company's latest product, but they have different concerns. And they ask you directly, how does your product address data privacy issues? What about scalability? So many questions. And in this social situations, I got to give them the best answers so that I would satisfy them all. So I'm going to give them an open answer. What about scalability? How is your product different? I would tell each of them about. Oh man,
I think
This
what I
is
would
so
do is
hard
I would
to
set up,
answer
I was
right now.
like, give them my card and set up a Zoom meeting for each of them.
Come
That's
again?
I would probably give them my card and say, can we set up a meeting, like have a coffee and talk to
Yeah,
each of them in
that's a
particular?
better approach, because I was about to type in. I would tell each one of them the exact information they would love to hear about that topic. Yeah. All right, let's
Yeah.
go with it. I would give my business card to each one of them so that we could discuss it separately. Yep,
Close enough.
there we go. All right. So then it's supposed to come up with a better approach and update your dashboard. And that's the concept. Yeah. Doing a good job. However, remember that in situations like these, you need to provide immediate information, not just the business card. So we've deferred the answers to a later time, missed the moment. Here's our point of improvement. And then it updates the skill chart. So it adds XP a little bit based on the soft skill we've used in our answer. And there's that. And that's the concept of the product concept. So the first feedback that we've already hearing from users is that we should carry on the situation. This shouldn't just end at one response. The situation should go on. Maybe what GPT should have said in our case, like, no, this is not sufficient. We want to get the information right now. Let's discuss it now. Push the user into the challenging environment. So there's that. That's what the soft trainers is about. Any comments, questions? I'm all ears. Oh yeah, and in the plan, I was supposed to say that we're interviewing 15 potential users, creating product hypotheses, developing a better MVP, testing it for user retention, and then iterate it until we find our
Sure.
product market fit metrics.
This is are you, can I ask, and I don't know if you don't want to tell me, because I know
Sure.
we're recording, it's up to you, but are you using commercial AI LLM in the back end as part of your product? Is that where you're aiming with this, or are you going to look at using local or open LLMs for this?
For now, for the MVP, I think the plan was to start with GPT, but
Yeah.
we'd see its limitations in sort of answers that it provides, not as fine-tuned to specific industries. And at that
Yes.
point, I think we'd be considering other models, so not just GPT. Is that what the question's about?
It is. And the reason I ask is I've had my head in this space a bit too, looking at it, and I've seen some good results, not experientially yet, although I'm planning to do that, but looking at QLoRa models. So using QLoRa and running that type of training on open models to generate more of the type of feedback that you're looking for, right? To adjust the effectively adjust the model to be able to do those things that you're asking about, like, hey, let's go back and revisit that situation. You could have talked about this, and this, right? And hit it that way. And I think it's interesting too. The whole idea of that little dashboard is clever. And I'm thinking about, from a product standpoint, how we could do things in product teams to assess information that's coming in, because product managers, I mean, you all get information from different places, and to try to rank and rate it and put it onto some kind of dashboard that would help give make sense of it, right? To distill it down to something that you can work with. I think just that, even as a feature of your application, is interesting, and I'm trying to relate it back to what we do on product teams, in order to make sense of data coming in from many places. I think somebody raised their hand. Oh, Vanilla, yes.
Yeah, a couple of things before I forget my thought, just to add on to what Matt said. I think that's a very, very good point. I've just found myself in a situation this week where we're a very small team, and I realized that even though I'm having one-on-ones, even though we're having, these weekly check-ins, there was still these gaps in misinformation. And what I ended up having to do, which I should have done in the beginning, but was to basically, we're implementing this third-party service, and nobody had any idea how it worked. I just trusted that everybody would go ahead and educate themselves, as we were all trained to do, but they didn't. And as we're entering our pilot testing phase, it's really critical that everybody on the team can actually speak to this integration and be able to answer questions from our users. And so I did a little high level summary, but that would be a perfect use case, right? Where we can simulate a question answer and have everybody be more informed and prepared to answer questions.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so just to add to that, I really do like the idea of training the product to continue the conversation, like instead of having the interruption of like, here's how you did, to continue to challenge further by having you interact with it. So it would have been, I think that was a great point, like to come back and be like, well, instead of grading you, actually having this simulator say like, oh, well, actually, I'd really like to learn about, your core feature right now. Like, can you quickly summarize it? And then my third question point is just to understand, do you imagine this product being used ahead of specific situations? Like, I think the example that you gave us was great, that you were like at a marketing conference or just a conference. Because I think with soft skills, it's such a nuanced space that it's almost like 2020, like hindsight, not the year, not the year. I'm so sorry. But it's like you almost like you go through the experience and then you look back and you're like, ah, man, I should have prepared this way, or I should have done this, this, and this. So I'm kind of curious in terms of like how you envision users initiating the use of the product. Is it for a specific situation? Like, oh, I have a conference and I want to be prepared, or is it just sort of like part of a team health, ongoing internal process?
Mm-hmm. Well, to reply quickly, I think it's in the name. It's a trainer. It's an ongoing process. You turn it on and you get situations. But I see the point about the specific use cases. Another point that I've learned from a customer interview, people don't always know what they want out of soft skill trainings. So maybe putting these template situations into the product may be a good feature to look into.
Let me jump over to
Yes.
Joel. I think Joel had his hand up next.
Yeah, hey, I think that's a cool idea, Val. I'm thinking specifically someone it might be a good product market fit for. While I was at Microsoft, we had basically annual reviews, pretty much like a lot of different companies. But one of the biggest things was how you help others and how you let others help you. And I think this might be maybe a good fit for engineering managers who say have someone on their team that they really want to help them grow in their soft skills. And, it's like, hey, this is holding you back. You're a great engineer or whatever, but you just need to learn how to be better with people and those kind of things. And giving them the feedback that they need. So there's that for you. Maybe I'm sure you've already thought of that. Engineering managers is a pretty obvious application. My question is, have you considered using more tonal analysis and other things like that in terms of inflection in voice and other things like that? Because what comes to my mind is, sure, it's cool that you can talk to a chat bot, but most of human interaction, there's facial expressions, there's tone of voice, there's response, and all those kind of things. When you're training, it's so much more than just a, question, answer, Wikipedia kind of response. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, actually, when I was trying to research competitors, there is a VR solution that does that. They've integrated ChatGPT, and that's what you're talking about. That's what they're doing. I think the end game of this product concept would be about VR, the ultimate soft skill simulation, the safest communication space of all. But I'm just not sure if we can pull it off with MVP, right? As an MVP right now. But a good point, though. Thank you.
I'm going to take one more question before we move on to Shivam. Grace, please.
Mine's not a question, but just a little remark, because I think for soft skills, coming from the States, I had a very rigid approach to what that would look like. And now that I work in Berlin with a very diverse team, something that comes to mind as an opportunity, whether you want to consider it now or much later down the road, is I would really love to be trained on what are the cultural nuances that don't translate in like the American work culture, but in other ways, right? Because I could imagine I'm going to say something explicitly, but for some of my colleagues in other cultures, like they have more of a nuanced approach. So that's something I would be really excited to uncover and be trained by. But I just wanted to share that story.
That's a great idea. It's a really good idea. Well, Val, thanks a lot. Thank you for taking the time to demo and introducing yourself all at the same time. Why don't we move on to Shivam? Am I saying it right? Is it Shivam?
Yeah, it's Shivam. Yeah, well,
okay,
great
Shivam.
presentation.
Okay. Great. So please go right ahead.
Yep. I have to share the screen. Okay, so I have to change my Mac settings. Sorry, my bad.
Oh.
I haven't used Zoom.
That happens.
Would it ask to restart it?
Time.
I'm not sure.
You have to, I don't know if you have to restart your Mac or do you just have to restart Zoom?
Yeah, I have to restart Zoom. Just give me 2 minutes, sorry.
Go right ahead. Well, why don't you go ahead and do that? I think, Yusuf, you had a question for Val too. Do you want to ask that?
Yeah, I just wanted to point Val towards quantify.ai. That's a product that I've worked on. It's basically, as you said, a simulation for training for salespeople. I think that's something that would be great that for you to look at. And also, I just want to apologize, Val, for not making to the demo earlier. That one. So maybe we can do that later, and we can talk all about it.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. I've just checked out the website. Gonna look into it further.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
That's a great idea. I like the comment you had, Grace, about the cultural norms, because I've heard about. I've never been to some places like Japan, for example. I've wanted to go visit, but I also understand that there are just certain things that are probably very different than what Americans are used to doing, and we certainly don't want to be offensive going there. I think that's an interesting way to position this. At least
Yeah, I was
you have
thinking
to see.
about, oh, sorry to interrupt. Yeah, I was thinking
Go
about
ahead.
this really great book that my friend introduced me to called The Culture Map.
Mhm.
And so it kind of, yeah, different communication styles, how to interact in space with like people of higher positions or not. And so,
Oh, sure.
yeah.
That's smart. Okay, Shivam, please go right ahead.
Yeah, sorry for the delay. So I
No.
will share my
You're not
screen.
going to be the last. It'll happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah, so I don't have a presentation ready, but why is it showing only a portion of screen? This
It's showing. Yeah, it's strange, isn't it?
so yep. So I've already told about my background. Like we were working in Slingshot, and we transitioned into an incubator where we are helping these kids to start their own startup. So some products are already ready. We already have few customers. So one of them is cam.ai. It's a dubbing startup, like where we can dub any video in one shot in 78, 79 different languages. And so, for example, we have dubbed many videos for YouTubers. So you can check out our website. It's by my co-founder, who is co-founder of Slingshot now. He's working on this full time. So I just wanted to showcase you, like, we already are working on like full-fledged products, and this is where I got curious about AI. We started this like last year only, and this is where my interest in AI really grew. And then ChatGPT came, and everyone, you know how it went. So
Yes.
we started with very small products, like so the other product that we have, it's called Pure Block, and it's an ad blocker, like not the usual one ad blocker where you just block the YouTube ads. It also uses AI to block the brand integration in the YouTube video. So if, for example, Mr. Beast is talking about some product, it would also skip that part. So this is also a simple Chrome extension that you can use daily, and it's made by a 13-year-old. So kids these days are like building amazing stuff using AI. So this is one of that. And then we started realizing like this went pretty well on Product Hunt, and we got few users. We realized that this didn't take much time to us to build. So also we got good response. So why not take, for example, in this case, we took an ad blocker and thought how we can make it better using AI. And we made this, right? And we got a good response. So we were thinking like, what if there are already many existing products which are not leveraging AI, right? If we can do that and we have more speed, so what we can build. So one of the things that I got, so I was seeking feedback for this product from my users, right? And I was thinking, what questions should I ask them? Like, if a normal person watches a YouTube video, like, what should I ask? How many hours do you watch? What do you think? How many hours this product saved you? Because we were thinking to monetize this product. Right now it's free. We were thinking to launch a paid plan. So that's where I stumbled upon an idea. So we already have, like, I hope most of you have used Typeform. It's a kind of a Google form, but it looks really great. Like the UI is great. So if you see Typeform, it's a simple form generation where you can go and put up questions. It would give you a link that you can share to everyone, and they will fill up the form. So what if that is powered by AI? So we were thinking, let's go back. So this is our product demo. Sorry, I don't have a really good demo. We always do stuff like in a hacky way, and then we finish it up when we get few users in the last stage. So this is a demo. And by the way, this is also made by a 15-year-old in, I think he's also in Ohio. I'm not sure, but yeah. So his name is
Wow.
Franklin, and this is his Loom video. I would go on with the with the demo. I would explain the stuff he's doing. For now, let me start. Till now, you all have understood, right? What we are trying to build. We are replicating type form, like which are good looking forms, and making it easy for user to build these forms and send it out to people and get feedback. So this is our website. He's signing up. Just a simple sign up. We don't need much details. So here he goes. He clicks on create form name. For example, this time we are taking feedback. Assume we are a company called Wendy's, which is a restaurant company, very big company. So we are trying to make a feedback form for them. So in these form questions, for example, if I'm seeking a feedback of my burger or something of my product, I can just add basic questions. AI would not ask exact questions from the user. It's just that to give the AI idea what I want users to answer. So for example, here he's writing, how was your experience at a restaurant? What did you enjoy? What did you dislike? Do you have suggestions for improvement? And yeah. So he has added like 5-6 questions here. And then the custom table part I would explain to you later on. For now, we can move on. He's selecting the theme. This all would change. This doesn't look good, but all of this would change. So this is the final form, for example. So
I was going to say it's going to like Wendy's or McDonald's. So, okay, you got the color. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So
all right.
How was your experience at a restaurant? User answers, it was great. That was wonderful to hear. So this is a dynamic question that AI has generated, right? So on the basis of the previous answer. So wonderful to hear. Can you tell me more about your specifically enjoyed about your experience at a restaurant? So the user answers, burger was good. Thank you for the feedback. Can you let me know which specific burger you enjoyed? So for example, if you make a form, you have to decide the questions in the first place, right? Right now, AI is interacting with the user. It's kind of chatting with the feedback form. So now it is asking specifically about the burger. If I move forward, can you let me know if there was anything that you didn't like and all that? So it is also asking about the improvement they can do in the burger.
Yep.
And if, like, for example, user has answered something random, they are asking, what do you mean by that? And yeah, this is the form. So if I go back to the dashboard, right? So I had 0 responses in the first place. And if you remember, I asked the user for the custom columns or the custom table. So in a usual form, you would see a table in results where every question has a specific answer, that this user answered this user answered this user answered this, right? So similarly in this form also, admin already sets a specific question that I need answers of these questions. I need answer of how my burger was, how my service was, how clean was the restaurant. And it's now AI's responsibility to take out answers from the users. And if you see, when I get the response, so it shows one response. And if I, so yeah, these are the custom questions that we needed answers for. How did the customer describe their experience? What would the customer like to be changed? And this is the summary of the response. And if we get more responses, the summary would improve. And the score would also be calculated on the basis of the responses. So, yep, this is our new product that we are thinking of launching. And the plan is very simple. We want to tap into this specifically on the big companies, startups, or maybe restaurants who use these feedback forms on daily basis to get feedback. But I think the data that they get is not very useful, and sometimes even we see, right, if we have given a feedback to a restaurant, we don't see that change when we go back again, because your response gets lost in like thousands of responses, right? So that's what we are thinking to build. Right now it's just a basic demo, and we would work on the UI. The algorithm part and the backend part is strong, but we want to make the UI much better. And yep, this is the
Oh.
product.
Wow. And how long have you and the team been working on this?
2
Did you
weeks.
say? 2 weeks. I don't know what was
we
more
just
surprising.
build and ship the product.
I don't know
That's the
what's
thing.
more surprising, if it's the 2 weeks or that there was a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old who were launching this other thing.
And
that,
it's not a team, it's just one person and me who has built this, like only 2
okay.
people for this.
I-
And even with the pure blog, and
I gotta admit, I was gonna say something before, but I didn't want to interrupt. But when you said a 13-year-old made that ad block thing, I don't know how fed up you have to be by 13 years old of advertising.
yeah. Yeah, he came
Writing
up with
some of the
this
blog
idea,
posts.
right? And he built it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also I write about the AI stuff that we are building in a newsletter. If you like find this interesting, do subscribe. I will send the link. Also about the products that I think can really become big, I just send them here on weekly basis. You can also subscribe to this. Yeah, just a small plug.
No, that's great. Any questions, comments for Shivam?
Yeah.
Anybody? Val, please go right ahead.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I should bring my hand up with emoji or using the video cam. Yeah, not a question, just a comment. So interesting concept about the personalized feedback form. What I've been thinking when you were presenting that, if you read the book The Monk Test, what they're talking about the user interviews, one of the interesting points, the zoom into the question part. So I was thinking that when you're trying, what this form did was essentially diving deeper into the feedback. So maybe as an alternative, one of the points that was in the book is like not all the topics are necessary to be dived into. So maybe I don't know, just think about that. Like
we did actually.
Yeah.
So for example, if there's a custom question for if there's a custom question that user wants to know about, like the admin wants to know about the restaurant service, right? And user gives for feedback of like parking was bad and service was also bad. So we tried that on our algorithm, like where it would double down on. So it doubled down on the service thing. But I think that's also biased. Maybe sometimes many people are saying about the parking thing. So we were thinking once we get a high number of responses, we can also train the questions on the basis of the responses, previous responses that other users have answers, not specifically this user, but all the users. So we can also do that, and it can generate dynamic questions or even suggest custom questions. Like we think you should add one more column because there are many complaints about parking. So something like that we were thinking.
Yeah. That's clever. It never occurred to me to be able to adjust the labels, through a process of form filling. I think that's a really clever idea, and do as you said, these deep dives or learn a bit more, try to get to the root of it. Have you thought about the different modalities that you could use this perhaps as a like you're presenting it as a form, as in what we're used to right now, right?
Yeah.
Another way you could present it, that would easily fit as in a chatbot, right? Something that you would be able to almost have on a website, and say, or even on the application itself, right? There's many times where you're trying to get feedback from people, and you remember those those little,
Hmm.
JavaScript things they drop onto your app,
Right.
and then you're like, have feedback, let us know, right? But to almost have it be able to converse with you while
Right.
you're using the application, if it's an online application versus something that
Yeah.
you like going to a restaurant, that might be advantageous too. It's a clever idea.
Yeah, we actually thought about it, and so the general user psyche is like, if you give them a chatbot, right, they treat it as a support. Like, they would seek answers. Like,
Mm.
I had this problem in the restaurant, I want to return this order, or I want refund, right?
Oh,
We
I
don't
see.
want that. General psyche of a user is like, if it's a feedback form, it's just a feedback form. I just need to give feedback and ratings and just
Yeah.
move on. Right. So chatbot interface usually comes with a lot of complaints. We don't want that. We just want to replace the feedback forms.
Yeah,
So
I
that's what we
follow.
are trying. Yeah.
Interesting. Anybody else?
Any more questions? Yeah.
A clever
Okay, yeah.
idea. I do think about it as well, just to round it out, but I think about it in terms of the way that we in product management try to get user feedback. Right. And what do we use many times? We're using if we're going to get quantitative feedback, we may ask to fill out forms, send out surveys to the user base if there's enough users to get that feedback from, to make it viable, right? And so using something like this that would allow you to perhaps dive down in some areas, or allow users to give more or be prompted, and I'm going to use that word in the original sense from like 4 years ago, prompted to ask or to give feedback in certain areas that they normally maybe weren't thinking about, and that might that can be a real advantage for user research, and surveys.
Right.
So it's
Right.
clever. I'm trying to bring it back to also how what we do in product management, what we do in product teams. Like, how can we leverage that same concept? So it's very clever.
Right. Right. It was
Anybody
like,
else?
the product
go
was
ahead.
almost ready. My trump card was to send you the link of my form and tell you that give me feedback on that form. But it is not ready, like technical bugs in the last minute. So I had to drop that. But that was the plan.
No, that's great. Thank you both. Thank you, Shivam. Thank you, Val, for taking the time to show it off. And this is our second call doing this, and the first one that we've recorded that will actually make it out to the light of day. But it's I'm finding that it's useful coming from a product team to see what other people are building, right? What they're working on. And hopefully at the same time, you're getting feedback from people that work in product, or work on product teams, to say, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? I'm hoping that this is in both directions. It's useful to see what's what people are working on. Well, again, normally Max would do a demo, but he's not here. So I thought I'd jump into coffee talk. I was going to put a Mike Myers thing here from anybody that used to watch Saturday Night Live, where they had coffee talk. But then I did a Google search, and there is a thing called coffee talk on Steam, and I have no idea what that is. So I didn't know what graphic to put here, so I just put coffee. So go back to the original. So I thought if there was anything anybody wanted to talk about, I do have some questions or conversation topics if anybody would like to chime in on. But is there anything anybody would like to bring up or chat about before we kind of get started? Okay. One of the questions, and I thought it was interesting to talk about, was if you're using products at your company right now to help you get your job done, and you're using products on your, as part of your product team, are you getting pushback or are there any challenges or barriers that are making it difficult? I know, for example, like some companies have just banned ChatGPT outright. So like, you're not going to do it because we can't control the data. Even though the data is secured through SSL, it's not the point. It's the fact that you may be sending important intellectual property or secrets outside of the company walls, which, by the way, could happen through email, right? So it's not the issue of it going through. It could be happening through email as well. It's the issue that it could be trained, and then somebody else might ask a question about your company and then inadvertently get information that's not public about your company. So I'm curious, have you seen anything at your businesses or the products? Are you getting any pushback or other barriers that you're finding?
I was just about to mention Samsung in their with their situation, and
Mhm.
I was thinking that's why GPT pushed for the on-premise solution. Like when the network is hosted on the company server, so it doesn't leak out anywhere. Is that a proper
Yeah.
solution?
I mean, I'll tell you, one of the areas I'm personally interested in is, and we're working on it for the projects that we're doing at Planorama in our R&D, working on local LLMs, where you don't have to use an LLM that is outside of you know, outside of the walls, at least of our company, right? Because I think that's going to be an issue for enterprise, for the enterprise, right? I tend to think OpenAI kind of pushed things over a bit, and now companies, even though they're putting data on cloud infrastructure anyway, companies do this all the time. They go to Slack, they're using Slack. It's on somebody else's cloud, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that it could be trained, you know, I think set people over the edge. And now they're like, no, bring it back. And this idea that LLMs, you know, might be trained on your data, that's concerning. And if you can have an LLM locally that does what you need it to do and provides additional value, then I think many companies would be interested in that.
True. All right.
Maybe.
Anyone else?
Oh,
Yes.
and I was just going to add on a little bit because for our platform too, we start off using OpenAI, and I remember it was like a day or before we started to do our release to get our beta users, and this is before our official product launch. OpenAI was down, and it was down for like a day and a half, which felt like eternity.
yeah.
And I think, you know, like, of course, it is a very powerful technology, but to reduce that kind of risk and also,
Yeah.
you know, to protect the data and have it be more locally, we put in a lot of effort mid-February onwards to set up our own model. And I think that kind of having that safety net also gives us that assurance that we're not fully dependent on our platform performing due to OpenAI.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to consider the risks that are there and know how to mitigate them.
No, certainly. Anybody else want to chime in? I've got a couple more questions. So, but I also know that we're at, like 8 minutes out. Max will be so proud of me because I'm trying to keep it on time and everything's working out. I'm really happy.
We are.
Yeah, I know. Got a great group. Any specific AI use cases or applications that you believe may have untapped potential? We've been talking a lot about language models, but I mean, look, there's image, there's video, there's a lot of other things, and maybe in particular to what you're trying to do in your day-to-day job and product. You know, if you're working in a product, you know, I don't mean just product management, project management, all of these. Are you seeing, now that you kind of have an idea and the whole tech universe has had the you know, illumination of AI and different capabilities, it may shed a new light on, boy, what is possible now in our day-to-day jobs that can be addressed. And I just kind of threw this out there, not to, I mean, I'm not trying to, this is not a secret stealing thing. If you're working on something and you can't share it, don't tell us. But if there's any things that you're working on that you're like, boy, this could really make a difference for product teams, product development teams.
I've got some thoughts to share.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember seeing a product that uses analytics, product analytics, internal data to come up with ideas on how to further push the product growth. So in this sense, I'm thinking that the best use of AI in product development is this intersection of generative AI, in a sense that it would generate product hypotheses based on the data products get. But And another point of concern here is how much would it replace the product managers, the people who are responsible for that? That's the
It's,
untapped.
that's the thing people don't want to talk about. But let me ask, it sounds like you were suggesting like maybe the LLM could help with generative AI, almost with analytics, execute the scientific method. You know,
Yes.
I have a hypothesis, right?
Yes.
And then see at the end, and then put in the analytics to see if it proves that that is a correct hypothesis or it was not correct, right? And disproven.
Yeah, the problem with product data is that there's so much data you're unsure how to use it. Like you come to the stakeholders and you show them, look, we've set this up, we are
Yeah.
data driven, but you don't know what to do next with it. And smart product managers are all about the hypotheses, about the linear, the correlation and linear regression methods. But AI can basically make the entry point wider. It wouldn't be necessary for product managers to go deeper into that statistical knowledge if AI can do that for you.
Interesting point. They often use that word data driven, and I keep thinking, yeah, but we need to have information, not data. That's my God. Joel, you had something to say real quick before I saw your hand up and now it's down.
Yeah, so I come from an economics background. And so naturally, I think about this thing that economists call creative destruction, where basically a cool new thing comes in, replaces the old thing because it's so much more efficient, so much faster, in terms of, the loom replaced hand weavers and other things like that. And I think all good innovations will enhance what people do and enhance human labor rather than produce it. And I really like to take that approach where, sure, you might need fewer people because there's a lot less work to be done, but the person who is still doing the job and that sort of job, their job will be enhanced by these tools. A lot of the legwork will be done for them, or maybe things are less tedious, or maybe they can get a lot more done with the same amount of time, and that sort of enhancement rather than replacing the human. And in that sense, I think product managers this could make their worlds a lot easier, rather than having to comb through all the data themselves and figure out, oh man, what does this mean? Because it's the classic, accounting and statistics, like numbers can lie to people very easily. You can tell a story with them and you can slant them. But with an AI, maybe it could, you could ask questions of it. It can understand the data so much quicker than a human could by just looking at pure numbers.
And perhaps not have that bias that motivation to tell a certain story.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, Vanilla, please.
Because even the models, like they're, in a sense, that they're programmed with the programmer's bias in some sense, to some degree, but that's a little bit harder to discern.
We're such in a nascent period right now. There's so much we don't know. We don't know even the questions to ask. We're just, remember back when websites were just static and you just went to them and looked at them, and then there was this counter that incremented and you hit reload and you're like, my God, look, I can make the counter go up, right? Like that was a thing, right? And now we look at that as like, God, that's boring. But at the time, that was the new thing. We had no idea that websites could be word processors. Vanilla, please.
Yeah, just to add on to Joel's point, there's a great episode of Lenny's podcast where he interviews Scott Belsky, who's at Adobe right now. And I dropped it into the chat, I think a couple of weeks ago, where he talks about not fearing AI replacing our jobs, but really looking at it as a way to enable us to do more, better work. And I think it kind of ties into this third question. I know myself personally as a PM, even though we have a UX researcher in our team, a pain point that I'm experiencing is for some reason she doesn't feel that synthesizing insights into like actionable requirements is an important part of the product development process, but that's like a totally different topic, which means that myself as somebody who has to advocate for the user, I have to be data informed, and I need to have that data accessible to me very quickly and in a way that I can communicate it to technical and non-technical stakeholders. And so I end up spending time processing, synthesizing the user interviews and trying to figure out my preferred way of presenting the data, and also a way that can be digested across the team and across all departments. And so this is a conversation that I had with Max last week. An emerging AI space that I'm particularly interested in is the synthesis of data, like the back end part of it, right? And like, how can that be compiled but also adhere to like best practices? Like, I don't want to be a UX researcher. I don't have the time for it. But I do need, the support and so that, and even in Shivam's product, seeing sort of the back end, the results, and being able to identify, for example, like if users were complaining about the parking as a pain point, but that's not something that we were thinking to focus on, it being highlighted as like a pattern and something that maybe we should, dive deep into. But I might not necessarily have the bandwidth to like recognize that, or have, to be able to process it as in addition to everything that we're focused on in driving the product roadmap forward. So yeah, I don't think we have to fear it yet. But I think a positive way that we can look at it is, how can it make us just more efficient, in our roles, and really use it as a supportive tool to hopefully maybe prevent burnout and loss of really great product talent.
It's a hard one, I'll tell you. Product management is everybody likes to think like, it's so hard, and everybody's, their role is the hardest one. But since we're product managers mainly on the call here, product management is very hard. It does have burnout. And a lot of it is because you just have so much information coming at you and so many things to do. You end up being, I know the Scrum Master is often the hub, supposed to be a bit of the hub of the team, but product manager is right in that same neighborhood. And it can be a real challenge to deal with that. And so I tend to agree with you that I actually think that product managers, if there's one role that's going to be really enhanced, it's the product management. I actually tend to think that the ones that are probably a little more concerned are the software developers, because of some of the things that are happening now with code generation. And again, we're so early in this process, but when businesses spend quite a bit on software development, and then they see that there's an ability to have code written, and not only code written, but unit tests written and ways to test it and evaluate it, and it can be done at a fraction of the cost of the G&A for a development team. There's real concern there, and rightfully so. But in terms of product, whatever happens with building the thing, you still have to have requirements, right? And product is certainly at the center of that and determining that. So yeah, I think product is actually going to be a field of growth, not only in size and number of people in it, but also an advancement of the skills that you're going to need for it. It's going to change, I think.
And quickly, really, really quickly, I think what excites me as a PM in this AI space is I actually feel, personally, I don't know if any other PMs feel this way, I feel like it can be very isolating. There's this assumption that you should know everything about everybody else's job. And it feels like I have tools that support me in my job. And that feels really good. Like in this abstract way, even though it is AI, I I just feel a little bit better that like I have tools that are built specifically for the needs that I have, and I can process, yeah, and just thinking about, with Sinfonia and even with Collado, just, having these tools that like, I don't feel like I have the weight of my product success on my shoulders.
You got your product buddies.
Yes, yes, I have my
Yeah.
product buddies. Yeah, and it's like nobody else in my org cares about AI, and that's really great. Like I can just make executive decisions as I please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if there's nothing else, I think I want to be respectful of your time. We went about 5 minutes over. But thanks everybody for joining. We'll be coming out again in 2 weeks to do this again. It was great to see y'all. Maybe we'll have more, who knows? But it was really nice to see all your faces. Good to hear from you. I appreciate your presentation, Shivam and Val. And we'll aim to have some more in a couple weeks.
Matt,
Yes.
thank you so much for hosting.
Sounds great. Yeah, thank you, Matt. You're
Amazing,
great.
amazing.
Nice to meet y'all.
Nice to meet everyone. Have a great
Take care.
weekend.
You as well.
Yeah, you
Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.